It is almost 2 in the morning, and you are lying in bed staring at the ceiling like it might finally give you the answer. Your phone is face down on the pillow next to you, but you can still feel it there, heavy as a stone. You already know the message you want to send, and you already know the person you want to send it to, and you already know they will not give you what you need. And still, your thumb is hovering, because some part of you would rather be hurt by them than be alone with yourself tonight. Your eyes are on this video for a reason. Subscribe now, and I will show you what is really happening inside you, why you keep walking back into the fire, even when you can still smell the smoke from last time. Let me tell you about a girl I knew once. She was 26, smart, funny, the kind of person who could make a room laugh without even trying. And she was dating a man who forgot her birthday 2 years in a row. Not because he was cruel, but because she did not feel important enough for him to remember. Her friends told her to leave. Her sister begged her. Her own mother sat her down at the kitchen table and said, "Baby, you deserve more." And she nodded, and she cried, and she went back to him the very next night. When I asked her why, she said something that has stayed with me for years. She said, "When he finally pays attention to me, it feels like winning. And the rest of the time, it feels like the only game I know how to play." That is the secret nobody wants to admit about painful love. It is not just love we are addicted to. It is the winning. It is the moment the door finally opens after being closed for so long. It is the rush of being chosen by someone who almost never chooses you. Here is what your heart has been hiding from you. The people who break us often feel more exciting because excitement and anxiety live in the same room inside your body. Your hands shake the same way when you are nervous and when you are in love. Your heart races the same way when you are scared and when you are kissed. Your stomach flips the same way when you are unsure and when you are happy. And if nobody taught you the difference, you spent your whole life calling fear by the name of love. Think of it this way. Imagine you grew up eating only spicy food. Burning, painful, eyes-watering spicy. Then one day someone hands you a soft, warm piece of bread. Plain, simple, real. And you take a bite and you think, this has no flavor. This is not food. You spit it out. Not because the bread is bad, but because your tongue has forgotten what gentle tastes like. That is what is happening to your heart. You keep spitting out the soft love because your mouth still remembers the burn. And until you sit with the bread long enough, the burn will keep pulling you back. Save this video. There will be a night soon when you forget all of this, and you will need to remember it again before you do something you cannot take back. So why do we do this? Why do we keep walking back into rooms that have already swallowed us before? The answer is older than your last relationship. It is older than you. It is written into the very first lessons your nervous system ever learned about love. When you were small, before you could even speak, you watched the faces around you to figure out if you were safe. You watched whether love came easy or whether you had to earn it. And whatever you saw then became the blueprint you carry now. If love in your house came and went like the wind, then love that stays still feels suspicious to you. If love in your house was loud and unpredictable, then love that is quiet feels dead to you. If love in your house had to be performed for, then love that arrives without a performance feels like a trap. Your body learned love the way it learned how to walk, without thinking, without choosing. And now, as a grown person, you keep walking the same way, on the same uneven ground, because that is the ground your feet were shaped for. But here is the beautiful part. Just because something was learned does not mean it cannot be unlearned. You are not stuck with the love you grew up with. You can teach your body a new language, a new rhythm, a new shape of safety. It will not happen overnight. It will not happen because you read one quote on the internet, but it can happen. And it starts with the small moment when you finally say, out loud or in silence, I do not want to live this way anymore. That sentence alone is the first crack of light. Now let me tell you about a man named Marcus. And yes, the name is changed, but the story is real. Marcus was the kind of man who fell in love hard and fast. He gave everything: his time, his money, his patience, his peace. And every single time, he chose women who could not give it back. Women who were still hung up on someone else. Women who were leaving for another city in 3 months. Women who told him from day one that they could not love him. He heard them. He stayed anyway. When Marcus finally went to therapy, his counselor asked him a strange question. She did not ask why he kept picking unavailable women. She asked, what would it feel like if a woman gave you everything you ever wanted? And Marcus went silent. His eyes filled up, and he said the words that unlocked everything. He said, I would not believe her. He said, I would be waiting for the moment she figured out I was not enough. And that is the truth most of us are too scared to say. We do not choose people who break us because we love being broken. We choose them because we already believe we are. Follow for more truth like this. Your brain has been carrying lies for years, and it deserves to finally put them down. When you believe deep down that you are too much or not enough or somehow wrong at your core, you cannot accept love that contradicts that belief. It is too painful. It is too confusing. So you find people whose love matches the story you already believe. People who confirm your worst fear about yourself. And when they hurt you, a small twisted part of your mind feels relieved. Because at least now you were right. At least now the world makes sense again. At least now you do not have to wonder if maybe you were lovable all along. That is the trick your wound plays on you. It would rather be proven right than be proven wrong. It would rather keep you safe in pain than risk you in peace. And so it pulls you, again and again, toward the people who will treat you the way you were treated long ago. Not because you deserve it, but because your wound has not yet learned what else is possible. It is doing the only job it knows how to do, which is to keep the story going. And the story is the only home it has ever had. The work, then, is not to find a better person. The work is to write a new story inside yourself, to slowly, patiently, gently begin to believe that you were never the broken one. You were just the one who got hurt first, and then kept proving it. And the moment you start telling yourself a different story, the kind of people you attract starts to change too. Not by magic, by math. Because you stop reaching for the ones who match the old story, and you start noticing the ones who match the new one. Share this with someone who keeps wondering why they never get the love they give. They need to hear this tonight. Now, there is another piece of this that nobody talks about, and I want you to sit with it carefully. Sometimes we choose the people who break us because, in a strange way, they make us feel powerful. When you are with someone unpredictable, every small win feels huge. Every text back feels like a victory. Every kind word feels like a treasure you earned. And in that constant chase, you start to feel like a hero in your own movie. You start to feel like the love you finally get is proof of how strong you are. But that is not strength. That is exhaustion dressed up as triumph. Real strength is not the ability to keep loving someone who keeps disappointing you. Real strength is the ability to walk away from a love that does not return itself. Real strength is the ability to sit with someone steady and not run, even when your old programming is screaming at you to leave. The hard people did not test your strength. They tested your tolerance. And tolerance is not the same as love. Tolerance is just the price you were taught love costs. There is a quiet kind of courage you have not used yet. It is the courage to let someone be good to you without flinching. The courage to receive instead of always giving. The courage to be loved without earning it. That kind of courage feels almost embarrassing at first. like you do not know what to do with your hands. You want to do something to deserve it. You want to perform. You want to prove. But the courage is to do nothing, to just sit there and be loved. That is the muscle you have never trained, and training it will change your entire life. Bookmark this video. You are going to need these words again on a Sunday afternoon when the loneliness whispers that you should call them back. Let me ask you to picture something. Picture a small child standing in a kitchen. They are holding a drawing they made. Crayon, messy, beautiful in the way only children can make things. And they are waiting for someone to look. They are waiting for someone to say, "This is wonderful. You are wonderful." And nobody looks. Or someone glances and says, "Not now." Or someone tells them the colors are wrong. And the child puts the drawing down and walks away with a small new belief. The belief that the love they want is something they have to work harder for. That child grew up. That child is you. That child is me. That child is almost everyone who has ever chosen the wrong person on purpose. We are all still in that kitchen, holding up drawings, waiting for someone to finally look. And the people who break us are the ones who never quite look, but sometimes almost do. And that almost is the thing we cannot stop chasing. The almost is what hooks us. The almost is what we mistake for love. Because at least the almost feels like there is still a chance. The person who fixes you does not give you almost. They give you yes. They look at the drawing the first time you show it to them. They say it is wonderful before you even ask. And something inside you does not know how to handle that. Something inside you suspects it cannot be real. You start checking the drawing for flaws yourself. You start saying, "No, look closer. The colors are wrong. Are you sure you really like it?" Because deep down, you do not yet believe you were the kind of child who deserved to be looked at the first time. Turn on notifications. Truth does not wait, and neither should your healing. Now here is something I have wanted to tell you for a long time. The people who break you are not always the loud villains you think they are. Sometimes they are charming. Sometimes they are kind on a Tuesday and cold on a Thursday. Sometimes they cry too. Sometimes they apologize and mean it in the moment and then forget it by morning. And that is what makes the whole thing so confusing. Because if they were monsters, you could leave. But they are not monsters. They are people who cannot give you what you need, and they keep promising they will. That promise is the rope you keep climbing. Every time they say they will change, you climb a little higher, hoping this time you will reach the top. Every time they slip back, you fall a little, but you do not let go. Because you are so close. Because they almost made it last time. Because next time might be different. And you spend years on that rope, calling it love, calling it commitment, calling it loyalty, when really it is just hope that has forgotten when to come down. Hope can be a beautiful thing, but misplaced hope is a slow kind of harm. I want you to understand this softly because it is not meant to make you ashamed. The reason you stay is not because you are weak. It is because hope is one of the most powerful chemicals your brain can produce. And someone who gives you hope in small, unpredictable doses is harder to leave than someone who simply hurts you. Their good moments are the proof you collect. Their bad moments are the cost you keep paying for that proof. And until you decide that the proof is not worth the cost anymore, the rope will always pull you back up. Stay with me. The next part of this is the part most people are afraid to hear, but it is the part that can finally set you free. Here is the hardest truth I will say in this whole video. Some of the people we cannot let go of, we are not really holding on to. We are holding on to the version of them we believed in. We are holding on to the early days. We are holding on to the night they looked at us like we were the only person in the room. We are holding on to a single beautiful sentence they said 2 years ago that we have replayed 1,000 times. We are not in love with who they are. We are in love with who they almost were. And the cruelest part is that the almost version of them was real. You did not imagine it. You did not make it up. They really did look at you that way once. They really did say those words. They really did make you feel like you had finally come home. But the almost version of someone is not a person you can build a life with. It is a memory. It is a ghost. And every time you go back to them, you are not going back to a person. You are going back to a ghost, hoping it will turn human. It never will. Letting go of that ghost is harder than letting go of the person, because the ghost lives in your imagination. The person you can block. The ghost follows you everywhere. The ghost whispers in your ear when you are happy with someone new. The ghost shows up in dreams. The ghost makes you wonder if you gave up too soon. And the only way to send the ghost home is to grieve, fully, the love that was never going to grow. Grieve the future that was never going to happen. Grieve the person they could have been and chose not to be. Comment one word below that is sitting on your heart right now. Just one word. I read every single one, and you are not invisible here. Now I want to talk about what changes when you finally start choosing the people who fix you instead. And I do not mean fix in the way that they save you. Nobody can save you. I mean the people whose presence in your life is steady enough that you start to heal in their company. The ones who do not become a new wound. The ones whose love does not require you to lose yourself. The ones who are calm enough that slowly you start to be calm too. Their nervous system regulates yours. Their peace teaches your peace. At first, being around that kind of person feels strange. You will wait for the catch. You will wait for them to turn. You will study their face for signs of the storm you are used to. And when the storm does not come, you will almost feel disappointed. That disappointment is not real. That is your old self mourning the chaos it was raised on. Sit with the disappointment without acting on it. Do not blow up the calm to feel familiar again. Just notice the feeling, name it, and let it pass through you. Over time, something amazing happens. You start to laugh more easily. You start to sleep more deeply. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop rehearsing arguments in your head. You stop bracing for impact. And one day you realize you have not cried in weeks, not because you are numb, but because nothing has been done to you that required crying. That is what real love feels like. Not the high, not the rush, not the slot machine. Just a long, quiet exhale that goes on and on and on. Share this video with someone who has forgotten what calm feels like. They will pretend they are fine, but inside, they are begging for words like these. Now let me say something about timing, because I see this confuse so many people. You might meet the right person before you are ready, and that is one of the most painful things life can do. You might meet someone steady and good and kind while you are still addicted to the storm, and you will not be able to feel them properly. You will push them away. You will pick fights. You will say it is bad timing. And in a way, it is. But the bad timing is not in the universe. The bad timing is in your own healing. I want you to forgive yourself if you have lost a good one because you were not ready yet. It does not mean you did not love them. It does not mean you did not see their worth. It just means your heart was still operating on the old map, and the old map could not find them. They were standing right in front of you, but your eyes were trained on a different horizon. That is not a moral failing. That is human. That is what happens when we try to live before we have finished learning how. The hope is this. The person who is meant for the new version of you will not be lost forever. Either you will find your way back to them when you are ready, or you will meet someone even better suited to who you are now. The universe is not running out of good people. It only feels that way when your own readiness is running behind. Catch yourself up. Do the work. Heal the parts of you that still confuse pain with passion. And the right kind of love will find you when you can finally hold it without dropping it. Save this video again if you need to. Some truths only land when you hear them the second or third or 10th time. There is a moment in every healing journey that I want to warn you about, because most people are not prepared for it. There is a moment when you finally stop choosing the people who break you, and you sit alone with yourself, and you realize that the loudness you used to call love was also a way of avoiding yourself. The drama kept you busy. The chaos gave you a reason to stay distracted. The crying and the fighting and the begging filled the silence inside your own chest. And when all of that goes quiet, you finally have to meet the person you have been running from. You. Meeting yourself, really meeting yourself, is uncomfortable at first. You see the parts of you that are bored, the parts that are lonely, the parts that miss the chaos a little because at least the chaos made you feel alive. You might wonder if you are doing healing wrong because peace feels so empty. It is not empty. It is just unfamiliar. Your inner world is a room you have not decorated in years. Of course it feels bare at first. The work is to slowly fill it with things that are actually yours. Real interests, real friendships, real joy that does not depend on anyone. And here is something nobody tells you. The longer you sit in that peace without running from it, the more you start to recognize yourself. You start to remember who you were before the heartbreak, before the chasing, before the proving. You start to remember the small things you used to love, the way you used to laugh, the dreams you had before someone told you they were stupid, the version of you that existed before you spent all your energy keeping a difficult person calm. That version is not gone. She is waiting. He is waiting. They are waiting in the quiet for you to come find them again. Stay close. Subscribe and stay close. There is a kind of life waiting for you that you have not even imagined yet. I want to leave you with one last picture. Imagine that one day, maybe a year from now, maybe 5, you are sitting somewhere ordinary. A kitchen table, a bench in a park, a couch in a small home that finally feels like yours. And next to you is a person whose presence does not make your heart pound with fear. They are just there, drinking coffee, reading something. Their hand is near yours and you are not bracing for anything. And in that moment, you will think back to the nights like tonight, when you were scrolling through messages from someone who never deserved your attention. And you will not feel angry at yourself for those nights. You will feel tender toward the person you were. You will see her, see him, see them, holding that phone in the dark, trying so hard to be loved by someone who could not love properly. And you will whisper in your own mind, "Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for getting us here. Thank you for finally believing that we deserved the soft kind of love, the steady kind, the kind that did not require us to bleed." That moment is real. That moment is coming. But it only comes if you stop walking back into the fire tonight. You are awake now. You are alive now. You are real and true and honest enough now to see the pattern you could not see before. And seeing the pattern is the first half of breaking it. The second half is choosing, in small ways every day, to act on what you finally see. Not to text them back, not to make the excuse, not to chase the almost, not to call the ghost. To sit in the quiet of your own becoming until the steady kind of love feels like home. Because it is. It always was. You just had to find your way back to it. If one person in this video reminded you of yourself, share it with them. Subscribe for more videos that speak the truth you need to hear.